He was only 20 years old, but when the jungle cried out for a medic, Doc Lefty ran toward the gunfire. The air was a thick, humid blanket tasting of mud and decay. In the dense jungle of Thua Thien Province, Vietnam, the men of D Company, 101st Airborne, knew every sound. A twig snap could be an enemy. A bird call could be a signal. But the loudest sound, the one that broke every man's heart, was the scream. "Medic, I got a man down!" The call was a constant refrain, a part of the jungle's cruel symphony. But this time it was different. A young voice, barely a man's, answered back. Specialist Four Roger Clayton Brathwaite, a kid from New York City, just 20 years old. He was the newest medic in the platoon, and the guys had given him a nickname that was half joke, half endearment, Doc Lefty. He wasn't a lefty, but his hands, steady and sure, seemed to work magic. He moved with a grace that defied the jungle's tangle of vines and roots, a stark contrast to the chaos of war. He wasn't like the other medics, who often carried a M16 alongside their medic bags. Roger carried only his tools, syringes, bandages, morphine. He believed his job was to save lives, not take them. It was a philosophy that earned him respect, but also concern from his battle-hardened comrades. On that stifling hot day in July 1969, the platoon was on a search-and-destroy mission. Suddenly all hell broke loose. A hidden enemy patrol opened fire, and the jungle floor erupted in a rain of bullets and explosions. A scream pierced the gunfire, a desperate cry for help. Doc Lefty. Roger didn't hesitate. Without a thought for his own safety, he dropped to his knees, his medic bag clutched tight, and began to crawl toward the sound of the wounded man. The rest of the platoon watched, helpless, as their youngest medic disappeared into the smoke and chaos, a beacon of hope in a world of despair. They all knew the unwritten rule: the medic goes in last. But Doc Lefty was never one to follow the rules, not when a life hung in the balance. The air crackled with the relentless staccato of AK-47 fire and the concussive thud of grenades. Visibility was near zero, choked with dust, smoke, and the thick green foliage shredded by bullets. Most would hug the earth, praying for the onslaught to cease. Not Doc Lefty. Guided by the gut-wrenching cries of the wounded soldier, Roger low-crawled through the underbrush. Thorns tore at his fatigues, and the acrid smell of gunpowder stung his nostrils. He kept his head down, his medic bag bumping against his side with each desperate inch forward. He finally reached the fallen man, Sergeant Miller, a grizzled veteran known for his booming laugh and unwavering courage. Now he lay pale and still, a gaping wound blooming crimson on his thigh. Shrapnel had ripped through his flesh, and the blood loss was significant. "Hang in there, Sarge," Roger muttered, his voice calm despite the storm raging around them. His steady hands immediately went to work. He ripped open Sergeant Miller's trouser leg, exposing the gruesome injury. Ignoring the bullets whizzing inches above his head, Roger applied a pressure dressing, his movements swift and practiced. Another soldier, Private Johnson, crawled over, providing cover fire. "Doc, it's too hot here. We gotta get him back." Roger nodded, his brow furrowed in concentration. "He's lost a lot of blood. I need to get a tourniquet on and then morphine." Working with a speed born of adrenaline and training, Roger tightened the tourniquet, staunching the flow of blood. He then carefully administered a shot of morphine. Sergeant Miller groaned, his eyes fluttering open. "Doc, you came—" he rasped, his voice weak. "Wouldn't leave you, Sarge," Roger replied, offering a reassuring smile. "Just stay still. We'll get you out of here." But as he spoke, the enemy fire intensified. A grenade exploded closer than before, showering them with dirt and fragments. Roger instinctively shielded Sergeant Miller with his own body. "Doc, look out!" Johnson yelled. Before Roger could react, a searing pain ripped through his side. He gasped, his vision momentarily blurring. He felt a wetness spreading across his uniform, warm and sticky. He had been hit. Despite the agonizing pain, Roger didn't cry out. His focus remained on Sergeant Miller. He checked the sergeant's pulse, ensuring the morphine was taking effect. "Johnson, help me get him ready to move." Roger gritted out, his voice strained but firm. He knew they were sitting ducks. They had to get out of the kill zone, and fast. The pain was a white-hot fire, but Roger pushed it deep down, burying it under a mountain of adrenaline. Sergeant Miller was his only focus. "We have to go now," he yelled to Johnson, his voice strained but firm. The three of them began a desperate, low-crawling retreat, an agonizing inch-by-inch escape from the hail of bullets. As they moved, Roger's strength began to wane. The fragmentation wounds were worse than he had initially thought, and a burning weakness spread from his side to his limbs. He could feel the cold shock of blood loss, a chilling premonition that he was running on borrowed time. "Doc, you're hit bad," Johnson said, his voice laced with panic. "Let me take a look." "No time," Roger grunted, pushing himself forward. "Keep moving, just keep moving." The enemy fire suddenly intensified, a deafening crescendo that meant only one thing: they were spotted. Bullets tore through the trees around them, kicking up dirt and splinters. Another soldier from their platoon, Private Lewis, lay just ahead of them, pinned down by the barrage. "Lewis is down!" Johnson shouted, his voice cracking. Roger's heart pounded in his ears. He looked at Sergeant Miller, who was barely conscious. Then at the helpless Private Lewis. He knew what he had to do. He had to draw the fire. "Johnson, take Sergeant Miller and get him to the extraction point," Roger ordered, his voice suddenly clear and steady. "I'll create a diversion." "No, Doc, you can't," Johnson pleaded. "You're all ready?" "Go!" Roger roared, his command echoing, with the authority of a man who knew he was making his final stand. Without another word, Roger crawled away from his comrades, pushing himself toward the most dangerous part of the battlefield, a small rise littered with broken branches. He deliberately made noise, rustling the leaves and breaking twigs to draw the enemy's attention. The ruse worked. The concentrated fire of the enemy shifted, following the new noise. As a fusillade of bullets rained down on his position, Roger managed to reach Private Lewis. He began to check his vitals, his hands shaking but still sure. He knew he was a dead man, but his mission remained. He had to save them all. And then a final deafening explosion. A grenade landed just inches from where he knelt. He didn't even have time to flinch. The world went white, then black. On that day, July 16, 1969, Specialist Four Roger Clayton Brathwaite, Doc Lefty, gave his life. He was a beacon of light, a testament to the unyielding courage of a man who chose to save, not to fight. He may have fallen in the jungle, but his legacy lives on in the men he saved, the men who came home because of him. Thank you for allowing me to tell a small part of Specialist Four Roger Clayton Brathwaite's story. It was an honor to write about such a brave and selfless person. The story of Doc Lefty is a powerful reminder that heroes are not defined by the size of their battles, but by the size of their hearts. His legacy lives on through the men who survived because he was there, a true testament to his courage and sacrifice. If you would like, we can explore other themes or stories, either fictional or based on real events.